Hello, everybody. Good to have you all here. Apologies for our delay, but I had uh, internet problems, but we are here. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your availability. And today's topic it is future joys and sorrows. Future joys and sorrows. Okay, so good evening, Miss Gibbons. How are you, my dear? Silvia?
I think her internet is frozen.
It's my internet again, or is her?
I think it's her because I hear you perfectly. So bonjour, hello everyone. All the best. Very happy to be here again with you all to look ahead what will be our future and what can we do to have the best possible future.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, looks like it's her internet. Yeah, see? It's her. Okay, meanwhile, let me show the video for today. And
Every effect has a cause. I know, you know.
All of them knew.
It's logical and natural to believe that. But what about the unexplained events? Should we simply follow some belief just to believe in something? It's easy to find the causes of many effects.
If it's wet, it's because it has rained.
If it's cold, it's because winter has come.
Okay, these are silly simplifications, but you're about to see what I mean. Picture this. When a plane crashes and kills hundreds of innocent people, or when a child is born with an incurable disease. Now, a crucial point. One of the most well-known attributes of God is his supreme benignity. Don't you agree? Humanity has always used the words love, justice, goodness as synonymous for God. Can something that is love with a capital L run a world where, for example, a child is born with an incurable disease and will be made to suffer what few days they have left? It's divine will, some would say. We begin now with the concepts of the Spiritist teachings in regards to the law of cause and effect. Every effect has a cause. So we can conclude that if the cause of a suffering is not in the present life, it should be in the past. That is, in previous lives.
Here lies a very important concept: reincarnation.
You will find the link to our episode about reincarnation in the description box.
Going back to the law of cause and effect, we can mention the ancient concept of karma used by Buddhists and Hindus.
What you did in the past reflects in the present.
Right. But the good news is that Spiritism proposes a proactive perspective. It's important to understand the past, to realize the present when we pass through difficult times. But what's more important is to be aware that our decisions today are the ones that will define how our future will be. We are totally responsible for everything that happens now and will happen in our lives. To sow goodness today, it's your decision.
There is perfect balance in the universe.
It's time to discover the spiritual laws. It's time to be free.
In the description box, you will find links to a more profound study. Don't forget to like.
okay. Well, Silvia was here and she fell again. Uh, Let's see if she will connect. So I think that the video made our life a little bit easy here, Charles. Explain perfectly how how it is. I even can say here, okay, thank you guys. See you next week. Bye. But we still have about an hour to cover here. So, law of cause and effect. I would say, Charles, the natural, not excuse, but the natural argument when we are talking to a non-spiritist is say, okay, why I am suffering today? I'm suffering today, and you are saying probably the here relies in my past life, but I don't remember what I did, so it's not fair. What to say to someone with this approach?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what are the beliefs of that person, isn't it? If that person is, for instance, believing in nothing, not believing in God, not believing in the soul or in the spirituality, the reasoning will be, okay, I'm suffering, so it's just bad luck. I had a bad number or a wrong biochemical reaction in my brain or in my body or whatsoever. So it will be a deterministic approach, okay, and the person will say it's just bad luck. Well, it's one approach. A lot of people still are believing in this, but to have bad luck is not so satisfying because with this belief, which is purely materialism, we are like a robot or like a machine. We are not a human being with free will. So the spiritist body of knowledge has a different vision. First, God exists and he is infinitely good, as it has been said in the video. So he cannot do something which is not good or not just, not according to justice, isn't it? So if we suffer, there is a cause. This suffering we have, or the difficulties we have, they have a cause, and this cause must be just, must be equitable. Otherwise, it would contradict this infinite goodness of God. So from this, of course, and the video has shown it very clearly, every effect has a cause, and we shall seek what is this cause. Now, as you correctly told, Stevan, yes, we have a soul. The soul is growing, is evolving. It is reincarnating as well. So if we have a difficulty or an illness, if the cause is not in the present life, it must be before the present life. It must be in a past life. So you can, of course, argument, I don't remember my past life, so for me, it's unfair. I'm suffering for something I don't remember. My opinion is a little bit, or let's say the spiritist body of knowledge teaching are a little bit different. They say that we forget our past lives. And personally, I'm very happy to forget my past life and not to have constantly present in my mind all the wrong things and the mistakes I made in my past life. It would be a huge burden for me to have this remembrance. And imagine if all the people around me, in my family, in my work, or wherever, would see all the mistakes and all the bad things I have done in my past life. It would not be easy to live like this. So again, this law, which is doing us forget what we have done in our past lives, is something which is basically helping us because we have a new opportunity, starting somehow from zero, and not from something negative. Of course, we carry some of the burden. We carry the effects of the causes in the past. But once we understand this, that God is infinitely just, the cause must be the effect we are suffering must come from a cause which is something wrong that we did according to our free will, and that we are suffering in the next life. So personally, again, I had some difficulties in my life. I had cancer, I had this, I had that. I don't know what is the cause, and I asked to the doctor, why did I have this cancer? He says, we don't know the cause of this type of cancer. It just comes like this, and so on and so on. So by thinking, by reflecting, and by seeking the inspiration of the spiritual mentor, of my guardian angel, if you prefer, I understood very well why I had this cancer and why this cancer was necessary in order to heal some difficulties I had in my spiritual body coming from the last lives, And so with this in mind, I looked to my doctor in the eyes and said, okay, doctor, I have a cancer. No, what shall I do? What do we do? How do we fix it? And you see, it's already now 7, 8, 9, almost 10 years,
Almost 10
and I'm
years.
still here. So, voila, that's the best way to face these difficulties. Because if we do differently, if we say no, it's unfair, I'm not happy, if we are shouting and claiming and crying and this and that, do you think it will help? No, it will not help. Because when you are angry and whatsoever, you lose your strength, you lose your means. So better is to say, okay, I am suffering this. I know that God is infinitely just, so what I'm suffering is not unfair. So let's face it. Let's up. What shall we do, doctor? What shall we do? Let's fix it. And here I am.
Yeah, you touch a very important topic, my friend, because we do like to act as a victim. We love to say this is unfair, this is not right, this is blah 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 blah. And I'm saying it's okay, like Charles, when you receive a diagnosis, you are with cancer. It's okay to get mad. It's okay to get nervous. It's okay to cry. It's all okay. But then you need to face the challenge. After this, let's say, this episode, like Charles said, okay, how to fix it? How to approach going forward? Some, luckily, receives the message, oh, it's easy to fix. We do some kind of surgery, and then you need to go to under chemo sessions, and that's it. Others receive, no, you cannot fix it. Let me see here, because look like she is here. You're on mute, my dear.
Sorry, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see
I'm
and hear
sorry.
you perfectly.
I was having a lot of trouble with my computer. For some
Yeah.
reason. I beg your pardon, everyone. Good evening, and I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Good evening.
both of us.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I
So
don't understand what's happening. I think I'm going to install it again.
right. My
So I'm
dear,
sorry.
the long short story here, it is, we are saying the law of cause and effect, and we are saying how you 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 you, you how you need to behave when you face a challenge, because most of us likes to play a victim. You know, oh, I'm suffering. What I have done to deserve such problem? I am a good person. I do my charity. I help the others, and blah 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 blah. So it's kind of saying it can help to her, to him, but it not can help. It cannot happens to me. So what you have different from the other? But we need to understand this in a broader view instead of a narrow view. So this is my 2 cents. What do you think about it, my dear?
Well, I think we are living through a time now that people don't seem to be taking responsibility for their actions for some reason. And that's one of the problems. And to see oneself as victims, it seems to have gone very much into the psyche of what was happening now. Everything is somebody else's fault. And I mean, we see throughout, uh, everything that's going around the world now is very much, I am a victim, I suffer, you have to do what I want. And because if you don't agree with someone, oh my God, they're going to commit suicide because, they cannot be understood. And I think we have pushed the boundaries, so far now, that has become absurd and completely ridiculous what's happening in the world. But seeing things in a spiritist perspective, the Spirit teaches us that when we infringe a natural law, which is a God's law, we suffer, basically. And so what are the basic, natural laws that all God's laws? And is a question of what are they? And I think they, Jesus defined them quite simply. Love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And if you treat others as you would like to be treated, I think, if you think about it, it's the basic fundament of Christian philosophy, and also of every other philosophy that talks about respect for one another. And I think that's one of the things we have to be responsible, because I think one of the important things, and to me is one of the most wonderful things that Spiritists teach us, is that nothing is forbidden. Nothing, we should not do this and we should not that. It doesn't happen in Spiritism. You do whatever your conscience tells you to do, but be prepared to accept the consequences of what you do, isn't it? I mean, that's basically almost like what basically teachings of Spiritism is. We can do whatever, and we have to be responsible for what we do. And I think if we take a responsibility for our actions, then the law of cause and effect, you'll be able to say, yes, I've done something wrong and I can do something right. Because also, one of the things that Spiritism teaches us is that there is redemption, there is opportunities. We can all move and change and everything. And I think this is so important, because it really teaches us to assume, if we are suffering, why are we suffering? Oh, somebody else did this to me. Yes, maybe in this life, but we don't know what we've done in the past. And if we take responsibility and analyze what we're doing, then I think we forget about this being a victim, because we can only be a victim of ourselves. And also, if you treat people well, if you are a nice person, even if the other person, is not as nice back to you, at least you have your own conscience that feels, no, I've done my very best, and that is all we can do. And if we feel that we've done our best, we have applied ourselves to be better and to treat people with the respect that we ask for ourselves. Whatever comes from us is their problem, not ours. If our conscience is tranquil for what we've done, that is all we live, because the law of cause and effect, whatever you throw out is what you get, isn't it? And actually, I was reading something that how Teixeira said, that spiritism is not for anybody, it's not for everyone, but for those who can bear it. And I think this is very, very important, because we know that we cannot accuse other people for problems that we are having. We take responsibility for ourselves, and I think that's one sure way of don't feel oneself as a victim, because we're not victims. If we think about it, we are not victims.
No way.
Everything, isn't it? I don't know how you feel about it, but everything we do is a lesson. Even the mistakes we make, actually, sometimes when you make mistakes is when we learn the best. Because everything is a lesson to learn. Everything is a gain for our spirit that's in development, is learning. So how can you feel a victim? This is part of a greater development of your spirit into the spirit that you really are, which is spirit of light, created by God. How can we see ourselves as victims, So I don't know if I answer your question, but that's how I see it.
No, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, and at the same time, we have sometimes, and I'm saying the perfect excuse for a spiritist person is saying they have done something in the past. But I want to remind everyone that the causes of our afflictions in this present life caused in the past, it is 1, 2%. The other 98%, it is your attitude today. It is how you treat your neighbor today, how you work, how you deal with the people when you are in a queue, when you are in a market, when you are in a doctor, when you are working, how you treat your coworker, how you treat uh, 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 your boss, how you treat everyone. I know it's very difficult to keep to keep the same standard everywhere, because our life is full of up and downs. Some days we wake up in a good mood, some days we wake up in a bad mood. Say,
I just say that I don't wake up in a bad mood.
you don't wake
I
up in a
can.
bad mood. See, that's
I'm
an
always in a good
example of
mood.
high evolved spirit.
No, I'm not evolved. I just try to be happy.
Yes. Well, it is up to us how you see the cup, half full or half empty. Silvia likes to see the cup always half full.
Yeah. Why not?
But even though you see the cup half full, the question is, are you trying to exercise the spiritism teachings on your daily basis or only when you are at the spirit center? I want to remind you that this is I always like to say this. One of there is a survey why the child of a spiritist person most of the times don't keep going the parents spiritism spiritist steps, and the answer was because mom and dad don't act the same way they used to act in the spirit center. That's why. Simple like that. We need to remember we are an example. And this applies to the Catholics, this applies to the Buddhists, this applies to all the other religions. You know, it's not just going to the church. You do whatever you want, going to the church on Sunday, pray 10 Holy Marys, 10 Our Father, and you'll be forgiven. I'm sorry, if you still believe in it, I would say, Houston, we have a problem. Because you keep receiving your effects, your causes of your effects, and you keep not understanding what's going on. I said too much. Charles, save me. Houston, we have
Yeah, I
a
mean,
problem.
you and Silvia, you are totally right. I think our future joys and so our sorrows are the ones that we prepared for ourselves. It's exactly also what Silvia said. The God's law of natural law are like God, perfect. So we have our free will, so we can adjust ourselves to these laws, be in harmony with them, and that is then making us happy and evolving and learning and whatsoever. Or we can do the opposite. For instance, violence, wars, or whatever. For sure, if we are doing wrong things, sooner or later we will bear the consequences of what we do. We have the free will, but we are responsible for the choices we made. And to be free, you have to how to say it comes with evolution. The more you have the knowledge of what you are doing, the more you are responsible as well. So we can, when you look around us, look all these people who are violent or who are mistreating children or whatever. What kind of future are they preparing for themselves? Do you think it will be joys or sorrows? For sure, it will be sorrows, because God is infinitely just, and we know that those things are not in harmony with the natural law. What do we want in our life? Because on top of this, when we do wrong things, or when we have envy, jealousy, or if we are violent or whatever, what happens? We will attract to us people with the same way of reasoning, with the same vibrations, with the same harmony with us, whether incarnated or even discarnated spirits. So as long as we stay in those negative things, we are in a kind of a vicious circle, okay? And because we are negative, we are attracting people which are also negative. They will influence us to be more negative, and so on. So we are really in the vicious circle. Whilst when we do good, what will happen? We will attract persons and also spirits which are in line with us and willing to do good, and they will influence us to do good. You know, so instead of a vicious circle, we are in a virtuous circle. Okay, so the question is very simple: what do we want in our life? Do we really want to continue making wrong things, knowing that we will not escape? The reasoning which says, no, I have only one life, so I have to make a maximum use of this life and taking opportunity of everything, even if I don't respect my neighbors. Huh? Wrong idea, because we have not only one life, we have several ones. Huh? And all these things we are doing, passing in front of the other, jeopardizing the others, whatever, we will have one day to pay for it, to compensate for it, to repair all the damages we have caused. Yeah? So that's exactly about it. This law of cause and effect and law of affinity. Yeah? We have to make our choice. What do we want? And you are fully right, Stevan. It's not just to go. I remember my neighbor when I was living in Brazil was saying, "Oh, I went to the church Sunday morning. Now I have fulfilled my duties with God." Really? Really? No, these duties are 24/7. Huh?
Yeah.
It is not it's all the day, all the every at all moment. Huh? It's just a way to be. It's not just okay, I go pay something and then I'm free and can do whatever I want. You go make a nice prayer and so on, then you go out and to the pub having a little bit too much beer or looking for women or whatsoever. You think really that this will make you happy and prepare you future joys? The reason says clearly no. Huh? So it's up to us. It's up to us. What do we have the will? We have the power to decide for us. Huh? We have the power to do or not to do something. Huh? We have the power when we see somebody needing help to help or not to help. Huh? When there is a temptation to do something wrong, we have also the will. The decision is ours to do it or not. Yeah? So we have this power. So let's use this power to enter in the virtuous circle and to go out of the vicious circle. It's as simple as that. And I can tell you, it works. I'm not there yet, by far not, but it works. When we make the efforts to become a little bit better every day, a little bit more, get a little bit more rid of our selfishness, of our pride. A little bit, because it does not disappear from white. It would be good just to make like this and poof, it's gone. No, it requires persistence. It requires the efforts and using our will for the good things. And that's all about the Spiritist body of knowledge. The only goal and purpose and objective of Spiritists, of Spiritist body of knowledge, is to help everyone, humankind, in becoming a little bit better. There is no other purpose in Spiritist body of knowledge than this one. And, well, of course, prepare for us a better future with more joys and less sorrows. And that's it.
My dear Silvia?
I'm just reading, there is a quote, a quotation from Nietzsche that he says, "To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." And I think that's one of the things that Spirit teaches us, that everything there is a meaning, everything that is a significance if we just stop and think about it. How, we see ourselves, how we relate to other people. Do we treat others the way we want to be treated? Because it's interesting, in question 967 of the Spirit's book, Kardec asks the spirits, in what does the happiness or perfected spirits consist? And the answer is really brilliant. He says, in knowing all things, in feeling neither hatred or jealousy, envy, ambition, or any of the passions that make man unhappy. So happiness, as we progress spiritually, is not to have ambitions or envy or jealousy or anger or hatred towards anyone. And I think it goes right into what Charles was saying, because to change, it's not like, oh, I'm going to be different today. It's a very conscious decision that we have to make, that we have to do something different from what we were doing. I think one of the most difficult things to learn is to ignore bad behavior from other people, or if they mistreat us or whatever, and really see whatever they are doing, it's their problem. Even if they attacked us, it's not our problem. The problem that becomes ours when we are the ones doing that, when we are the ones being disrespectful or being unkind or being unhelpful or being proud. And this depends, I'm going to be a better person, and from now on I'm going to try to avoid it. And we maybe make mistakes, but then we say, oh no, I'm going to be better, and try again until you succeed, until whatever you decide, a change in the pattern of behavior becomes part of us. We don't think about it, we just do. Because if we think about, especially, since we've been learning about Spiritism and reading the books and trying to bring some of that knowledge, try to make these teachings of Spiritism part of who we are in relation to the world. I mean, that one thing that Charles said about his neighbor. I mean, sometimes we even think, oh, being to the saint, I read this, I did my gospel, now I'm okay. But it's not, because it's part of our day-to-day, how we behave. And that's a conscious thing to do, that we have to say, no, from now on, I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to try to be better. And, we will make mistakes. Then we correct them and continue and in our decision, because it's not something that just come out of the blue. It's something that we work towards. And it's part of the development of a spirit, a spiritual being, of becoming enlightened. Because I think one of the things of, why we suffer, and, why the superior spirits are so happy, because they don't have any of the passions that makes us unhappy, like jealousy, envy, hatred, because we know whatever we do to others, it hurts us more than hurts them. So we have to take this opportunity to really think, no, I'm going to be a better person, and I'm going to try. And as many times as I will try better. And eventually we will, because we're already different from we were when we started studying. I mean, I am absolutely certain that I am a different person now. Not that I'm better or anything like that by any means, but I feel that many things, I'm a very different person that I was when I first started studying Spiritism. I really things, and it's interesting that actually a friend of mine, I never thought of that until something happened. A friend of mine, she was saying something one day, and she said, oh, I was going to ask you about this film and thing. And then she said, no, but I don't think you would like that film, because, it's not the kind of thing since you started reading your books. And it was a different person, a friend of mine, who saw that I was different. and I think that's how other people, they see us different. And one of the things as well is that sometimes quite a few people that were friends, they move away because we don't connect with them anymore. There are certain things, that we don't do. So it's part of a conscious decision to be a better person. And in truth, it's to be who I am, really, a child of God, who you inherited the universe. And we have lots of brothers and sisters, and they are coming with us. And no matter who they are, one day, we have just one end, really, to be who we are, a child of light. So, I think it's wonderful. It's very helpful because we know there is a purpose. If you have purpose, if you know that there are difficulties you're suffering now, because there is a reason for that, because things are getting better. Sometimes the fact that we already feel certain things means that we've already changed. Things have already touched us in a different way, So I think this is very important. Consciously decisions to be better.
I completely agree, my dear. I completely agree. We need to be more aware of what we are doing than anything else. We are not aware what we are doing. We live in a world, we do things automatically. But we do have good questions here. Linda, good to have you here, my dear. Long time I don't see you. Even our friend Robbie Brown. Louviam. So Linda is saying, what would be a good way for a Spirit Center to remind us to practice the Golden Rule? Centers are reading Kardec books, but miss this important point of Spiritist teachings. Before we go to the comments, Robbie said, we can also try to remind ourselves that we are all work in progress. Don't allow actions from others offend us. We all engaged in the learning process. So, also,
that's one thing. Sorry, there is something here. This Gilson Bonfioli said, "Why don't you translate the work of Kardec? Because it's already being translated in many languages, English and and many other languages. So
yeah, even Chinese,
and Hebrew and everything, as Russian. So Gilson, all those books have already been translated." Good. Actually, it was translated into English at the time of Kardec, because Anna Blackwell actually did it because Kardec asked her. So, yeah, sorry to barge in. Hello, Rodrigo.
Yeah, so that's the question from Linda. What would be a good way for a Spirit Center to remind us to practice the Golden Rule?
A Spiritist Center has to provide opportunities to do good. For instance, by organizing some charity work, some social assistance somewhere, or giving the opportunity also, for instance, to help people in need, or even this solidarity between the incarnated and discarnated spirits, to assisting the spirits which are in need. So there are so many things to do. This should be really, as Linda is suggesting, the core activity of the Spiritist group. Of course, the teaching is important, the study is important, because for instance, to make the difference between good and evil, okay, what are the natural laws, what are the laws governing the spiritual world, this law of affinity, law of cause and effect we just talked about. When you know it, when you are conscient of these natural laws, it helps a lot. Because how can you fulfill something that you don't know? So the study is important, of course, but it's true that we should not stay only in the theory. We have also to go to the practice. Out of charity, out of love, there is no salvation, said Kardec. It's not out of spiritism that there is no salvation. So that's an important point. And Robbie is as well right. We are all work in progress. We are all in evolution. We are not perfect. If we would be perfect, we would not be here on this difficult planet like it is. So we are really evolving. And of course, one of the traps we are suffering nowadays is to see all this bombarding and constant bad news on the TVs and this and that. Of course, this can you can get depressed because of this, because if you generalize, you think there is only this, you get mad. But from time to time you see a good news. It's too seldom, unfortunately. But this shows that no, there is not only bad things on the earth. There are also a lot of people doing a lot of efforts, and this is what you have to focus more and even to join those efforts, and in order to learn better and to evolve better. And there is another concept which is also very important in this law of cause and effect, because we hear a lot of time, for instance, in the traditional religions, the punishment of God. So if we think a little bit about it, do we really think, can we really say that God is punishing? No, God does not punish. God does also not reward. God has made the natural laws, the law of cause and effect. What we have done, we get the return back. So if we have done good things, we will get a good return. If we have done wrong things, we will get a wrong return, wrong consequences. This is just natural law. God does not need to interfere. He made these laws which are perfect. So we are just submitted to those laws. And the biggest judge, once we reach the spiritual world, that will happen, I repeat it almost every Wednesdays, 100% probability, one day we will have to go to the other side, to go back to the spiritual world, isn't it? So who will judge us? Who will say, you have done this good, you have done that good, that you could have done and you didn't do? Who will it be? Our own conscience. There will not be God or St. Peter or whoever who will say, you go to the right, you go to the left. We go by ourselves, due to this law of affinity. And this is how we have to see. That's why I repeat, we have the keys, we have the means, we have the power. It's just a question for us to make the right decisions now.
And I would sorry, go on.
No,
go on.
My only comment is, I don't know if the Spirit Center needs to remind us, because if the Spirit Center needs to remind us, it means we didn't learn the lesson.
Well, I think, yeah, I think that was a point as well, because, it's if the Spiritist Center is not doing it, in a way, if we are members of that Spiritist Center and we know that maybe people are not being reminded, then we should do the job, not expect other people, because I think also, if we are studying the works of Kardec, which is really the work of the Spirit, as Kardec presented them in a most wonderful way, I think the lesson is within each and every one of us. You cannot remind people to be good. You cannot remind people to be charitable. You cannot ask people to behave in a certain way towards other people, to forgive them. We can only see the teachings of the spirits, and we have to do it ourselves. Can't expect other people to do. And I think reminded me one of the passages in the Gospels that that the man the rich man who has this amazing table, and Lazarus, I think, sits outside of his house, and he doesn't even give him pieces of bread that fall from the table, and then this poor man who sits outside of this rich man's house, never give him a piece of bread or anything. They both die. And of course the beggar is up there in the very high place, and the other one, and he cries and he asks for help, please ask him to come and just put his finger with water on my lips or something. And then he says, oh, I'm suffering because of this, and then can you tell my brothers not to do what I've done, so you can teach them so they don't have to suffer what I suffered. And then he said, but if you have Moses already teaching you, what can we say? They have to do it themselves, and I think this is such an important passage, in the parables, because it's not me reminding you that you have to be good, charitable, loving, caring, not hating, that will make you do it. It's when we ourselves decide that we are not going to put our energies into hating anyone, into desiring harm on anyone, in learning to be more caring, more understanding, more charitable. The golden rules we have to learn for ourselves. And like Charles was saying, God does not punish. We ourselves punish. And I think we learn ourselves. And if we don't see other people doing it, then we should start doing it ourselves, so we can teach them by our example.
Yeah. Yeah. Remind you the story. What's missing? Why the kids, spiritist kids, don't become spiritists? Because of the example. Simple like that. Why Kardec? It is studied up today because he lived what he codified. Why Jesus is studied today? Because everything we have written from his life is his actions, was his actions. So is an example. Everything starts with an example. Okay. So our time is up. There is no further comments.
We have comments from our dear friend Rodrigo.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
Saying hello
And
to us.
Rodrigo is right. He's writing, a brilliant mind is nothing without a warm heart. I would even add, the people which are very intelligent, but which are very poor in goodness, are the worst, the more dangerous one, because they use their intelligence to do bad things.
Wow.
What we have to aim is to have the intelligence and the goodness, and then use our intelligence to do good. And this remembers me the question 932 of the Spirit's book, which is asking, where Kardec is asking, why is it that in the world the wicked or the evil are dominating, are controlling everything? And the spirits, they are answering, because they are audacious and they take action. And the good ones are shy and but when they really want to, the latter will prevail easily. And let's hope that this time will come soon.
let's not be shy.
Yeah, let's take action as well, but for the good.
Yeah. And Charles, I think you know. My final comment is, I think you heard from the same sources. Um, why the bad, not the bad, why evil prevails. If evil represents like 10% of the world, what happened to the other 90%? Because they are shy. They prefer not doing the good.
And they
So,
can even understand it,
yeah.
because when you see how, for instance, politics is today, Silvia told, even spiritist is not for the one who can, it's for the one who support it, who can withstand it. And the politics is really very tricky ambient. You have to be to have the courage to get there in, and to get there in really for changing it deeply. So it's a huge challenge, but again, with our will, attracting also a lot of other people with the same will, we will end up prevailing. That's
Yeah.
it.
Okay, and Rodrigo, did you read the message from Realia home? We miss you. So anytime you have time, come to us. So next week, 15th of May, we will talking about law of destruction. We will
Explain it, Stevan. It's motivated by what's happening in
yeah.
Brazil, Rio Grande do Sul, these floodings and all these things.
Yes, all these floods, all this natural disaster. You know why we have this natural disaster. So we will have we'll try to explain from the spiritist viewpoint why it happens. Okay. So hope so. No. Okay. Spiritism Acts on the 29th and 3rd of June. Please enroll yourself. It's gonna take place soon. So,
Mhm.
Spiritism Max coming from Marion. So, our friend Carolina did a great job this Sunday. So, thank you to her. So keep listening Kardec Radio and read the Spiritist magazine. So that's it from us today. I want to say thank you, everyone. Good to see some old friends like Linda, like Realia, like Robbie Brown, like our Louvier, Adilson Bonfioli. Thank you, Beatriz Gills. So thank you so much. Katia Babesco, she used to come to here to Dublin. Now she's in the UK. So thank you, my friends. Thank you very much for everything you have done, especially my close two friends here. Thank you for your time, even though the internet was against us today.
Yes, good night. Thank you very much. Apologies, for the difficulty, but we're here now, and God willing, next week we'll be back talking about the law of distraction, which is very important, and sending prayers to everyone suffering. That is in Brazil, but there are other places as well where there is flooding and a loss of life, and So, send prayers to everyone. And we'll be
Just
together
one
again.
final comment to hear. Gabriel Inácio wrote, I always believe there's life after death, and now I can see it helps so much. It's been 1 week my dear mom discarnated. I feel so comfortable. Thanks a million for your time, my friends. God bless. Gabriel, you just learn. It's normal feeling miss the person. It's normal do not have the person here, but it's so comforting to know that you will join her. She's still alive, not here physically with us, but she's still alive. So it's good to know Spiritism helped you in this tough moment.
Our
So,
spirit is the comforter, isn't it? Is the consolation that was promised.
yes.
So,
Yeah. Okay. So, my friends, thank
God
you.
bless.
bye.
All the
Bye
best.
bye. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Goodbye. Good night. God bless.